What if I told you that one of the main wisdom books, or one of the books of wisdom in the Bible, repeatedly uses the phrase meaningless? Everything is meaningless. It feels ironic that the God who created all things intentionally and meaningfully would in his word have a book that repeats this phrase meaningless over and over and over again. Well, that's the book of Ecclesiastes, and that's not the entire story. That's not the entire thing of Ecclesiastes, but it's a very interesting book, which there's the teacher. He's a cynic. This is Solomon, by the way, the teacher, and he looks at everything and sees that ultimately things are just meaningless if everyone just dies and that's all there is to it. And yesterday we saw how he took delight in all that this world could offer in terms of earthly pleasures, and he still declared it all as meaningless. And so it's a really interesting book to read and help us understand that ultimately without God it's all meaningless. But with God, life is so meaningful. So good morning. I hope you're doing well today. This is reading through the Bible in 102 days. So today is day 56 as we go through this journey. It's been an exciting one so far, and I hope that you've been learning and growing tremendously as I have. What we're doing today is we are finishing Ecclesiastes, which we started yesterday. So we'll be starting at Ecclesiastes chapter 3, and then we're going to Song of Songs chapter 8. So that's we're actually concluding two books today. We're concluding Ecclesiastes and Song of Songs. So that is today's reading, which is going to be really interesting. If this is your first time seeing this and you're not sure what this is, well, this is just a Bible reading in a pretty quick span, in a 102-day span. So not including Sundays, because Sundays I'm taking off. It is 88 days of reading. And so the days when I am reading live, and I really enjoy doing this live and getting to do this at the same time as you're tuning in. Well, I read from about 7 a.m. to about 8:30 a.m., Monday to Friday, and then Saturdays at 10 a.m. So, part of the fun for me is that I just get to, I get to do this with you, and I get to do this learning and growing with you. So at any point while we're going through this reading this morning, if you notice something that you think is worth noting down for all of us to be aware of, for others to be aware of, and it's really cool to you, then we would love to hear it. So just drop it in the chat, drop it in the comments, or there's also a collaborative document that I made where you can go to a specific chapter if you want to add notes to that specific chapter and then include it there. I'll also be taking notes after every chapter in an identical document, which is just also broken down by chapters and books. And so I'll be taking notes after every chapter and giving myself a bit of a summary of each chapter. Now, before we read, the scriptures quoted are from the NET Bible, https://netbible.com, copyright 1996-2019, used with permission from Biblical Studies Press, LLC, all rights reserved. So let's pray and let's start reading. Lord God Almighty, we come before you in deep and desperate need for you, our God. Lord, you're the one who gave us life. You're the one who gives us meaning. Lord, I pray, thanking you for this morning's reading, that we would be aware and our hearts be aware and open to hearing from you, and excited to draw near to you, excited to look into your word, God. We need it, and I pray that reading your word this morning would be restful to us, that it would be filled with life, Lord, as we see your words just being so beautifully written down for us, Lord. I pray in your name, Jesus. Amen. So let's let's begin our reading in Ecclesiastes chapter 3. For everything, there's an appointed time and an appropriate time for every activity on earth. A time to be born and a time to die. A time to plant and a time to uproot what was planted. A time to kill and a time to heal. A time to break down and a time to build up. A time to weep and a time to laugh. A time to mourn and a time to dance. A time to throw away stones and a time to gather stones. A time to embrace and a time to refrain from embracing. A time to search and a time to give something up as lost. A time to keep and a time to throw away. A time to rip and a time to sow. A time to keep silent and a time to speak, a time to love and a time to hate, a time for war and a time for peace. What benefit can a worker gain from his toil? I have observed the burden that God has given to people to keep them occupied. God has made everything fit beautifully in its appropriate time, but he has also placed ignorance in the human heart, so that people cannot discover what God has ordained from the beginning to the end of their lives. I have concluded that there is nothing better for people than to be happy and to enjoy themselves as long as they live, and also that everyone should eat and drink and find enjoyment in all his toil, for these things are a gift from God. I also know that whatever God does will endure forever. Nothing can be added to it, and nothing taken away from it. God has made it this way, so that men will fear him. Whatever exists now has already been, and whatever will be has already been. For God will seek to do again what has occurred in the past. I saw something else on earth. In the place of justice there was wickedness, and in the place of fairness there was wickedness. I thought to myself, God will judge both the righteous and the wicked, for there is an appropriate time for every activity. And there is a time of judgment for every deed. I also thought to myself, it is for the sake of people, so God can clearly show them that they are like animals. For the fate of humans and the fate of animals are the same. As one dies, so dies the other. Both have the same breath. There is no advantage for humans over animals. Both are fleeting. Both go to the same place. Both come from the dust, and to dust both return. Who really knows if the human spirit ascends upward, and the animal spirit descends into the earth? So I perceived there is nothing better than for people to enjoy their work, because that is their reward. For who can show them what their future holds? Wow. It's a pretty depressing take on life. Let's go here. Let's say there's a time for everything. Life ends in death for humans and animals. Might as well find enjoyment in what we can. In our work. In our work. All right. Ecclesiastes 4. There you go. All right. Ecclesiastes 4 now. Evil oppression on earth. So I again considered all the oppression that continually occurs on earth. This is what I saw. The oppressed were in tears, but no one was comforting them. No one delivers them from the power of their oppressors. So I considered those who are dead and gone, more fortunate than those who are still alive. But better than both is the one who has not been born, and has not seen the evil things that are done on earth. Then I considered the skillful work that is done. Surely it is nothing more than competition between one person and another. This also is profitless. Like chasing the wind, the fool folds his hands and does no work. So he has nothing to eat but his own flesh. Better is one handful with some rest than two hands full of toil and chasing the wind. So I again considered another futile thing on earth, a man who is all alone, with no companions. He has no children nor siblings, yet there is no end to all his toil, and he is never satisfied with riches. He laments, for whom am I toiling and depriving myself pleasure? This also is futile and a burdensome task. Two people are better than one, because they can reap more benefit for their labor. For if they fall, one will help his companion up. But pity the person who falls down and has no one to help him up. Furthermore, if two lie down together, they can keep each other warm. But how can one person keep warm by himself? Although an assailant may overpower one person, two can withstand him. Moreover, a three-stranded cord is not quickly broken. A poor but wise youth is better than an old and foolish king, who no longer knows how to receive advice, for he came out of prison to become king, even though he had been born poor. In what would become his kingdom? I considered all the living who walk on earth, as well as the successor who would arise in his place. There is no end to all the people, nor to the past generations. Yet future generations do not rejoice in him. This also is profitless, like chasing the wind. Okay. Man. All right. This is... There is evil in the world. It's better to not be alive to see it. Let's see. Oh, man. Work is self-motivated by people. All right. There is benefit in supporting each other and labor that gives. Or that is shared. Okay. This is, yeah, interesting. Okay. All right. There's a lot of notes to take, but it's just these chapters are so ironic, so interesting though. Rash vows. Here we go. Be careful what you do when you go to the temple of God. Draw near to listen, rather than to offer a sacrifice like fools, for they do not realize that they are doing wrong. Do not be rash with your mouth, or hasty in your heart to bring up a matter before God. For God is in heaven, and you are on earth. Therefore, let your words be few. Just as dreams come when there are many cares, so the rash vow of a fool occurs when there are many words. When you make a vow to God, do not delay in paying it, for God takes no pleasure in fools. Pay what you owe. It is better for you to not to vow than to vow and not pay it. Do not let your mouth cause you to sin, and do not tell the priest it was a mistake. Why make God angry at you? So that he would destroy the work of your hands. Just as there is futility in many dreams, so also in many words. Therefore fear God. If you see the extortion of the poor, or the perversion of justice and fairness in the government, do not be astonished by the matter, for that high official is watched by a higher official, and there are higher ones over them. The produce of the land is seized by all of them, even the king is served by the fields. The one who loves money will never be satisfied with money. He who loves wealth will never be satisfied with his income. This is also futile. When someone's prosperity increases, those who consume it also increase. So what does its owner gain, except that he gets to see it with his eyes? The sleep of the laborer is pleasant, whether he eats little or much, but the wealth of the rich will not allow him to sleep. Here is a misfortune on earth that I have seen, wealth hoarded by its owner to his own misery. Then that wealth was lost through bad luck. Although he fathered a son, he has nothing left to give him, just as he came forth from his mother's womb. Naked will he return as he came, and he will take nothing in his hand that he may carry away from his toil. This is another misfortune. Just as he came, so he will go. What did he gain from toiling for the wind? Surely he ate in darkness every day of his life, and he suffered greatly with sickness and anger. I have seen personally, a little too far down. What is the only beneficial and appropriate course of action for people? To eat and drink and find enjoyment in all their hard work on earth. To eat and drink and find enjoyment in all their hard work on earth during the few days of their life that God has given them. For this is their reward. To every man whom God has given wealth and possessions, he has also given the ability to eat from them, to receive his reward and find enjoyment in his toil. These things are the gift of God. For he does not think much about the fleeting days of his life, because God keeps him preoccupied with the joy he derives from his activity. Okay. Man. Let's see. Okay. So chapter 5 here, we'll take a few notes. Oh, no. No. Wrong hotkey. There you go. Futility of rash vows, like futility of dreams. Find enjoyment in the fruit of one's labor. That is the gift from God. Futility of amassing great wealth and possessions. All right. Ecclesiastes 6. This is, oh man, not everyone enjoys life. Here is another misfortune that I have seen on earth, and it weighs heavily on people. God gives a man riches, property, and wealth, so that he lacks nothing, and his heart desires. Yet God does not enable him to enjoy the fruit of his labor. Instead, someone else enjoys it. This is fruitless and a grave misfortune. Even if a man fathers 100 children and lives many years, even if he lives a long, long time, but cannot enjoy his prosperity, even if he were to live forever, I would say a stillborn child is better off than he is. Though the stillborn child came into this world for no reason and departed into darkness, though its name is shrouded in darkness, though it never saw the light of day, nor knew anything, yet is more rest than that man. If he should live 1,000 years twice, yet does not enjoy his prosperity, for both of them die. All a man's labor is for nothing more than to fill his stomach, yet his appetite is never satisfied. So what advantage does a wise man have over a fool? And what advantage does a pauper gain by knowing how to survive? It is better to be content with what the eyes can see than for one's heart always to crave more. This continual longing is futile, like chasing the wind. Whatever has happened was foreordained, and what happens to a person was also foreknown. It is useless for him to argue with God about his fate, because God is more powerful than he is. The more one argues with words, the less he accomplishes. How does that benefit him? For no one knows what is best for a person during his life, during the few days of his fleeting life, for they pass away like a shadow, nor can anyone tell him what the future will hold for him on earth. All right. So it is meaningless to amass great wealth and property and never be able to enjoy the fruit of the labors. All right. Ecclesiastes 7. This book will get much more encouraging, by the way. But it has to go through a deep valley to get there. A good reputation is better than precious perfume. Likewise, the day of one's death is better than the day of one's birth. It is better to go to a funeral than a feast. For death is the destiny of every person, and the living should take this to heart. Sorrow is better than laughter, because sober reflection is good for the heart. The heart of the wise is in the house of the mourning, but the heart of fools is in the house of merrymaking. It is better for a person to receive a rebuke from those who are wise than to listen to the song of fools. For like the crackling of quick-burning thorns under a cooking pot, so is the laughter of the fool. This kind of folly is also useless. Surely oppression can turn a wise person into a fool. Likewise, a bribe corrupts the heart. The end of a matter is better than its beginning. Likewise, patience is better than pride. Do not let yourself be quickly provoked, for anger resides in the lap of fools. Do not say, "Why were the old days better than these days?" For it is not wise to ask that. Wisdom, like an inheritance, is a good thing. It benefits those who see the light of day, for wisdom provides protection, just as money provides protection. But the advantage of knowledge is this: wisdom preserves the life of its owner. Consider the work of God, for who can make straight what he has bent? In the times of prosperity, be joyful, but in the times of adversity, consider this: God has made one as well as the other, so that no one can discover what the future holds. During the days of my fleeting life, I have been both of these things. Sometimes a righteous person dies prematurely in spite of his righteousness, and sometimes a wicked person lives long in spite of his evil deeds. So do not be excessively righteous or excessively wise. Otherwise, you might be disappointed. Do not be excessively wicked, and do not be a fool. Otherwise, you might die before your time. It is best to take hold of one warning without letting go of the other warning. For the one who fears God will follow both warnings. Wisdom gives a wise person more protection than 10 rulers in a city, for there is not one truly righteous person on the earth who continually does good and never sins. Also, do not pay attention to everything that people say. Otherwise, you might even hear your servant cursing you. For you know in your own heart that you also have cursed others many times. I have examined all this by wisdom. I said, I am determined to comprehend this, but it was beyond my grasp. Whatever has happened is beyond human understanding. It is far deeper than anyone can fathom. I tried to understand, examine, and comprehend the role of wisdom in the scheme of things, and to understand the stupidity of wickedness and the insanity of folly. I discovered this. More bitter than death is the kind of woman who is like a hunter's snare. Her heart is like a hunter's net, and her hands are like prison chains. The man who pleases God escapes her, but the sinner is captured by her. The teacher says, I discovered this while trying to discover the scheme of things. Item by item, what I have continually sought, I have not found. I have found only one upright man among 1,000, but I have not found one upright woman among all of them. This alone have I discovered. God made humankind upright, but they have sought many evil schemes. Whoa. All right. Well, there is value in wisdom. Humans seek evil schemes. All right, Ecclesiastes 8. This is human government demonstrates limitations of wisdom. Let's see, all right. There are 12 chapters in Ecclesiastes, by the way. And so, yeah. Hold tight for that epic conclusion. It's coming. But we got a few more chapters to get through. Who is a wise person? Who knows the solution to a problem? A person's wisdom brightens his appearance and softens his harsh countenance. Obey the king's command, because you took an oath before the Lord to be loyal to him. Do not rush out of the king's presence in haste. Do not delay when the matter is unpleasant, for he can do whatever he pleases. Surely the king's authority is absolute. No one can say to him, "What are you doing?" Whoever obeys his command will not experience harm, and a wise person knows the proper time and procedure. For there is a proper time and procedure for every matter, for the oppression of the king is severe upon his victim. Surely no one knows the future, and no one can tell another person what will happen. Just as no one has the power over the wind to restrain it, so no one has power over the day of his death. Just as no one can be discharged during the battle, so wickedness cannot rescue the wicked. While applying my mind to everything that has happened in this world, I have seen all this. Sometimes one person dominates sometimes one person dominates other people to their harm. Not only that, but I have seen the wicked approaching and entering the temple, and as they left the holy temple, they boasted in the city that they had done so. This also is an enigma. When a sentence is not executed at once against a crime, the human heart is encouraged to do evil, even though a sinner might commit 100 crimes and still live a long time. Yet I know that it will go well with God-fearing people, for they stand in fear before him. But it will not go well with the wicked, nor will they prolong their days like a shadow, because they do not stand in fear before God. Here is another another enigma that occurs on earth. Sometimes there are righteous people who get what the wicked deserve, and sometimes there are wicked people who get what the righteous deserve. I said, this is also an enigma. So I recommend the enjoyment of life, for there is nothing better on earth for a person to do except to eat, drink, and enjoy life. So joy will accompany him in his toil during the days of his life that God gives him on earth. When I tried to gain wisdom and to observe the activity on earth, even though it prevents anyone from sleeping day or night, then I discerned that all that God had done. No one really comprehends what happens on earth, despite all human efforts to discover it. No one can ever grasp it. Even if a wise person claimed that he understood, he would not really comprehend it. All right, so there's, there are limits to human understanding and wisdom. Humans might as well enjoy the fruits of their labor. Oh, man. This is, it's a tough read for sure. But it's, who was one upright man he found? I wonder. Yeah, I'm not sure who that one upright man was that he found. It's interesting. But this whole book is definitely a heavy book to read, and it's heavy to think about, but it's something that lots of people have considered philosophically over years and years, of just kind of like what is the point of life? Like, you take God out of the equation. If you don't want to accept God, then what is the point of life? And then, but like he goes on to talk about, like, might as well take enjoyment in the fruits of your labor. But then he, like, at the start of the book, he was also talking about like how he tried to take pleasure in everything that he could, and it was all futile. So it's interesting, just kind of like reflecting on like what is life like if there's no meaning to life, if there's nothing to live for. If you're not going to live for God, then what is the point of life? Then might as well just enjoy what you can and live with some enjoyment. But there is more meaning. There is actually meaning in God. And we're going to get to that. And I know I keep referencing it, but the conclusion of this book is absolutely epic. It's so cool. And it comes as a response to everything that we're hearing it's the author who hears everything that the teacher Solomon is saying, and then he responds to it. And his conclusion is fantastic. So let's keep reading. But there is like some, I don't know, I think some importance in even contemplating this and just recognizing, like, hey, like, if it weren't for living for God, like, what is the point of any of what we do, any of what we accomplish, any of what we hope to accomplish? Or like, yeah, I think it's some really interesting, really good questions to ask and think about. Here we go. So I reflected on all this, attempting to clear it all up. I concluded that the righteous and the wise, as well as their works, are in the hand of God. Whether a person will be loved or hated, no one knows what lies ahead. Everyone shares the same fate, the righteous and the wicked, the good and the bad, the ceremonially clean and the unclean, those who offer sacrifices and those who do not. What happens to the good person also happens to the sinner. What happens to those who make vows also happens to those who are afraid to make vows. This is the unfortunate fact about everything that happens on earth. The same fate awaits everyone. In addition to this, the hearts of all people are full of evil, and there is folly in their hearts during their lives. Then they die. But whoever is among the living has hope. A live dog is better than a dead lion, but for the living know that they will die, but the dead do not know anything. They have no further reward, and even the memory of them disappears. What they loved, as well as what they hated and envied, perished long ago. and they no longer have a part in anything that happens on earth. Go, eat your food with joy, and drink your wine, and be happy, and with a happy heart, because God has already approved your works. Let your clothes always be white, and do not spare precious ointment on your head. Enjoy life with your beloved wife during all the days of your fleeting life that God has given you on earth during all your fleeting days. For that is your reward in life and in your burdensome work on earth. Whatever you find to do with your hands, do it, do it with all your might, because there is neither work nor planning nor knowledge nor wisdom in the grave, the place where you will eventually go. Again, I observed this on the earth. The race is not always won by the swiftest. The battle is not always won by the strongest. Prosperity does not always belong to those who are the wisest. Wealth does not always belong to those who are the most discerning, nor does the success always come to those with the most knowledge. For time and chance may overcome them all. Surely no one knows his appointed time, like fish that are caught in a deadly net, like birds that are caught in a snare. Just like them, all people are ensnared at an unfortunate time that falls upon them suddenly. This is what I also observed about wisdom on earth, and it is a great burden to me. There was once a small city with a few men in it, and a mighty king attacked it, besieging it and building strong siege works against it. However, a poor but wise man lived in the city, and he could have delivered the city by his wisdom. But no one listened to that poor man, so I concluded that wisdom is better than might. But a poor man's wisdom is despised. No one ever listens to his advice. The words of the wise are heard in quiet. More than the shouting of a ruler is heard among fools. Wisdom is better than weapons of war, but one sinner can destroy much that is good. Interesting. Life ends in death, so might as well enjoy life and the fruits of labor. Wisdom is better than might. Example of a man who conquered a city, but the poor man who was wise was ignored by everyone. All right. Ecclesiastes 10. So, one deadly fly makes the perfumer's ointment give off a rancid stench. So, a little folly can outweigh much wisdom. A wise person's good sense protects him, but a fool's lack of sense leaves him vulnerable. When a fool walks along the road, he lacks sense and shows everyone what a fool he is. If the anger of the ruler flares up against you, do not resign from your position, for a calm response can undergo great offenses. I have seen another misfortune on the earth. It is an error a ruler makes. Fools are placed in many positions of authority, while wealthy men sit in lowly positions. I have seen slaves on horseback and princes walking on foot like slaves. One who digs a pit may fall into it, and one who breaks through a wall may be bitten by a snake. One who quarries stones may be injured by them. One who splits logs may be endangered by them. If an iron axe head is blunt and a workman does not sharpen its edge, he must exert a great deal of effort. So wisdom has the advantage of giving success. If the snake should bite before it is charmed, the snake charmer is in trouble. The words of a wise person win him favor, but the words of a fool are self-destructive. At the beginning, his words are foolish, and at the end, his talk is wicked madness. Yet a fool keeps on babbling. No one knows what will happen. Who can tell him what will happen in the future? The toil of a stupid fool wears him out, because he does not even know the way to the city. Woe to you, O land, when your king is childish and your princes feast in the morning. Blessed are you, O land, when your king is the son of nobility and your princes feast at the proper time, with self-control and not in drunkenness. Because of laziness, the roof caves in, and because of the idle hands, the house leaks. Feasts are made for laughter, and wine makes life merry, but money is the answer for everything. Do not curse a king, even in your thoughts. Do not curse the rich while in your bedroom, for a bird might report what you are thinking, or some winged creature might repeat your words. Okay. Oh, wow. This is, okay. It's good to be wise, you could say. It is good to be wise, and wisdom helps to keep people from endangering themselves. Let's see. These last couple chapters have had a lot more like shades of Proverbs than the rest of Ecclesiastes, which has been interesting, which has been really neat, actually. Yeah, let's see. Words and works of wise men and fools. Oh man. There's wise men and there's fools everywhere, both in regular people and in kings and princes. Okay. Ecclesiastes 11. Send your grain overseas, for after many days you will get a return. Divide your merchandise among 7 or even 8 investments, for you do not know what calamity may happen on earth. If the clouds are full of rain, they will empty themselves on the earth, and whatever a tree falls to the south or to the north, the tree will lie wherever it falls. He who watches the wind will not sow, and he who observes the clouds will not reap. Just as you do not know the path of the wind, or how the bones form in the womb of a pregnant woman, so you do not know the work of God, who makes everything. Sow your seed in the morning, and do not stop working until the evening. For you do not know which activity will succeed, whether this one or that one, or whether both will prosper equally. Light is sweet, and it is pleasant for a person to see the sun. So if a man lives many years, let him rejoice in them all. But let him remember that the days of darkness will be many. All that is about to come is obscure. Rejoice, young man, while you are young, and let your heart cheer you in the days of your youth. Follow the impulses of your heart and the desires of your eyes, but know that God will judge your motives and actions. Banish emotional stress from your mind and put away pain from your body, for youth and the prime of life are fleeting. Okay. Man. How do I summarize this one? Let's see. He who observes. Okay. It is good to diversify and to work not knowing if the rain will come. And then light is sweet. Yeah. Enjoy life while you can, because death is coming. Ecclesiastes 12 now. Here we go. All right. here we go. I think, is this the last chapter? Yeah, this is it. Okay, Ecclesiastes 12 is the last chapter of the book. This is gonna get really cool. So pay attention, because this chapter is really, really something special. Ecclesiastes 12. So remember your Creator in the days of your youth, before the difficult days come, and the years draw near, when you say, I have no pleasure in them, before the sun and the light of the moon, and the stars grow dark, and the clouds disappear after the rain, when those who keep watch over the house begin to tremble, and the virile men begin to stoop over, and the grinders begin to cease because they grew few, and those who look through the windows grow dim, and doors along the streets are shut. When the sound of the grinding mill grows low, and the one is awakened by the sound of a bird, and all the songs grow faint, and they are afraid of heights and the dangers in the street. The almond blossoms grow white, and the grasshopper drags itself along, and the caper berry shrivels up, because man goes to his eternal home, and the mourners go about in the streets. Before the silver cord is removed, or the golden bowl is broken, or the pitcher is shattered at the well, or the water wheel is broken at the cistern, and the dust returns to the earth as it was, and the life's breath returns to God who gave it. Absolutely futile, laments the teacher. All these things are futile. All right, here we go. Not only was the teacher wise, but he also taught knowledge to the people. He carefully evaluated and arranged many proverbs. The teacher sought to find delightful words and to write accurately truthful sayings. The words of the sages are like prods, and the collected sayings are like firmly fixed nails. They are given by one shepherd. Be warned, my son, of anything in addition to them. There is no end to the making of many books, and much study is exhausting to the body. Having heard everything, I have reached this conclusion: fear God and keep his commandments, because this is the whole duty of man. For God will evaluate every deed, including every secret thing, whether good or evil. There it is. That is the fantastic, amazing, meaningful conclusion to this book that keeps repeating this word futile or meaningless. Like, it's neat that like you kind of get this response from the author at the very end, who's like, yeah, having heard all this, like, this is the duty of all mankind: fear God and keep his commandments. Like, I'm just gonna copy these verses here. Like, just fear God and keep his commandments. There it is. That is that gives meaning, gives purpose. Is something that is enduring. The teacher's final words, talking once more about how everything is futile. The conclusion of the author. All right. And that's it. That's it for Ecclesiastes. There's another book bagged. That was cool. This was a cool book. I really enjoy reading Ecclesiastes. There's a lot of like definitely a lot of like hard things to read that are just kind of like, man, this sucks. This is really depressing to read. But you kind of get a sense that ultimately, you know, without God, what is the point? Like, only God can give our lives actual meaning. Only God gave us life. Only God gives us meaning. So let's see here. 12, remember your Creator so that you can live fruitfully in obedience to him. Amen. Yeah. Amen. That's what we're called to do. That's what we got to do. and we gotta remember him even when we can tend to forget him. We gotta remember him, and it's all so worth it. Um, the only thing that's really worth it. So let's keep reading here. A new book that we're starting and reading through all of today, which is a 8-chapter book. It is the book of Song of Songs, which is basically a way of phrasing things to be like, the greatest of the greats. Like it's the greatest of songs is basically what that title means, what it's implying. So this is the final wisdom literature that we're going through, because then we're going to be starting the prophetic literature tomorrow morning. So we're starting Isaiah tomorrow morning. So this is the final book of the 5 books that we've read, the wisdom books, the poetry books of Job, Psalms, Proverbs, Ecclesiastes, and Song of Songs. So also known as Song of Solomon, by the way. These are the five wisdom books, 5 books of poetry. They're very interesting books, and but it's cool to be moving on to a different section after today's reading. So today we're still in this yellow section here that I've been highlighting in yellow, but then tomorrow will be a new color. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's start by reading this book here, and here we go. Solomon's most excellent love song. Oh, how I wish Oh, how I wish you would kiss me passionately, for your lovemaking is more delightful than wine. The fragrance of your colognes is delightful. Your name is like the finest perfume. No wonder the young women adore you. Draw me after you. Let us hurry. May the king bring me into his bedroom chambers. We will rejoice and delight in you. We will praise your love more than wine. How rightly the young women adore you. I am dark-colored, but lovely, O maidens of Jerusalem. Dark like the tents of Kedar, lovely like the tent curtains of Salma. Do not stare at me because I am dark, for the sun has burned my skin. My brothers were angry with me. They made me the keeper of the vineyards. Alas, my own vineyard I could not keep. Tell me, O you whom my heart loves, where do you pasture your sheep? Where do you rest your sheep during the midday heat? Tell me, lest I wander around beside the flocks of your companions. If you do not know, O most beautiful of women, simply follow the tracks of my flock, the pasture of your little lambs, beside the tents of the shepherd. O my beloved, you are like a mare among Pharaoh's stallions. Your cheeks are beautiful with ornaments, and your neck is lovely with strings of jewels. We will make for you gold ornaments studded with silver. While the king was at his banqueting table, my nard gave forth its fragrance. My beloved is like a fragrant pouch of myrrh. Spending the night between my breasts, my beloved is like a cluster of henna blossoms in the vineyard of En-gedi. Oh, how beautiful you are, my beloved. Oh, how beautiful you are. Your eyes are like doves. Oh, how handsome you are, my lover. Oh, how delightful you are. The lush foliage is our canopied bed. The cedars are the beams of our bedroom chamber, the pines of the rafters of our bedroom. Okay. By the way, I'm not going to get into it right now, but there are different interpretations of what Song of Songs is referring to, whether that is a literal interpretation between a man and a woman, or that is a symbolic interpretation of God keeping his covenants, or it can mean a few different things. But this is this is it. Let's see, how am I going to summarize these chapters though? Let's see. Beloved. Okay. All right. Each other's beloved. All right. So let's keep reading Song of Songs right here. Let's see. I'm excited about Isaiah. Yeah, same. I'm so excited for Isaiah. It's a long book, very long book, longer than Psalms by word count in the Hebrew at least. But it's going to be a really, really good book. I'm so excited for it. And then in the 60s, the Byrds sang this song based on Ecclesiastes. The Byrds. Is the Byrds a band? I'm sorry, Dad. I don't know who the Byrds are, but that's neat. I'm assuming they're a band. Anyways, let me know because I don't know who the Byrds are. But let's go on to Song of Songs, chapter 2. I am a meadow flower from Sharon, a lily from the valleys. Like a lily among thorns, so is my darling among the maidens. Like an apple tree among the trees of the forest, so is my beloved among the young men. I delight to sit in his shade, and his fruit is sweet to my taste. He brought me into the banquet hall, and he looked at me lovingly, sustained me with raisin cakes, refreshed me with apples, for I am faint with love. His left hand is under my head, his right hand embraces me. I admonish you, O maidens of Jerusalem, by the gazelles and by the young does of the open fields. Do not awaken or arouse love until it pleases. Listen, my lover is approaching. Look, here he comes, leaping over the mountains, bounding over the hills. My lover is a gazelle or a young stag. Look, there he stands behind our wall, gazing through the window, peering through the lattice. My lover spoke to me, saying, Arise, my darling, my beautiful one, come away with me. Look, the winter has passed. The winter rains are over and gone. Blossoms have appeared in the land, and the time for pruning and singing has come. The voice of the turtle dove is heard in our land. The fig tree has ripened its figs. The vines have blossomed and give off their fragrance. Arise, come away, my darling, my beautiful one, come away with me. O my dove, in the clefts of the rock, in the hiding places of the mountain crags, let me see your face, let me hear your voice, for your voice is sweet and your face is lovely. Catch the foxes for us, the little foxes that ruin the vineyards, for our vineyard is in bloom. My lover is mine, and I am his. He grazes among the lilies until the dawn arrives, and the shadows flee. Turn, my beloved, be like a gazelle or a young stag on the mountain gorges. All right. The two beloved are each other's and enjoy each other's company and spending time together. Yeah, I'll leave it at that for this one. Song of Songs, Song of Solomon 3. All night long on my bed, I longed for my lover. I longed for him, but he never appeared. I will arise and look all around throughout the town and throughout the streets and squares. I will search for my beloved. I searched for him, but I did not find him. The night watchmen found me, the ones who guard the city walls. Have you seen my beloved? Scarcely had I passed them by when I found my beloved. I held on to him tightly and would not let him go until I brought him to my mother's house, to the bedroom chamber of the one who conceived me. I admonish you, O maidens of Jerusalem, by the gazelles and by the young does of the open fields, do not awaken or arouse love until it pleases. Who is this coming up from the wilderness, like a column of smoke, like a fragrant billow of myrrh and frankincense? Every kind of fragrant powder of traveling merchants. Look, it is Solomon's portable couch. It is surrounded by 60 warriors, some of Israel's mightiest warriors. All of them are skilled with the sword, well trained in the art of warfare. Each has his sword at his side to guard against the terrors of the night. King Solomon made a sedan chair for himself. The wood imported from Lebanon. Its posts were made of silver, and its back was made of gold. Its seat was upholstered with purple wool. Its interior was inlaid with leather. And the maidens of Jerusalem, come out, O maidens of Zion, and gaze upon King Solomon. He is wearing the crown with which his mother crowned him on his wedding day, on the most joyous day of his life. Huh. Interesting. Okay. Longing for the beloved, do not awaken love before it is time. Solomon is surrounded by a, what is it? It was look, Solomon, a portable couch and a sedan. What is a sedan? Is that like King Solomon made a sedan chair for himself, like a chair made out of like a Civic or something? Like I have no idea what that means. But anyways, let's just I'll add the portable couch, I guess. Shows up with his portable couch. Yeah, I don't know. Oops. Okay. Song of Solomon 4. All right. The lover to his beloved. See, click on the link after your broadcast. You'll see what I mean. Okay. Did you send me the link? I don't see the link, or is it in the collaborative notes, baby? Let's see. Okay. Sounds good. I'll check out the link after the broadcast then. Let's see. All right. Chapter 4. I'll just get it ready. All right, chapter 4. Oh, you are beautiful, my darling. Oh, you are beautiful. Your eyes behind your veil are like doves. Your hair is like a flock of female goats descending from Mount Gilead. Your eyes, sorry, from Mount Gilead. Your teeth are like a flock. Okay, sorry. Before I read this is definitely poetic and symbolic. So this is not a literal. This is not a literal description of this person. So don't be picturing a literal person who has teeth that are like a flock of newly shorn sheep. That might be some really weird looking teeth. But if you do picture it literally, you will have a very interesting caricature of someone. Let's see. Oh, sorry. There's a few more comments here. Sort of a recliner. Oh, that makes sense. Okay, a recliner would make sense. Yeah. All right. Named after the town of Sedan in France, where it was first used, the sedan chair consisted of a seat inside a cabin with a detachable roof mounted on 2 poles. Oh, okay. I see. So it was like those, I don't know, those things that the kings would get carried in. That makes sense. Okay. That makes a lot of sense. Thank you. I really appreciate that. Thanks for looking into that for me. All right, so here we go. Chapter 4, starting over, which again is poetic. Oh, you are beautiful, my darling. Oh, you are beautiful. Your eyes behind your veil are like are like doves. Your hair is like a flock of female goats descending from Mount Gilead. Your teeth are like a flock of newly shorn sheep coming up from the washing place. Each one of them has a twin, and not one of them is missing. Your lips are like a scarlet thread. Your mouth is lovely. Your forehead behind your veil is like a slice of pomegranate. Your neck is like the Tower of David, built with courses of stones. 1,000 shields are hung on it, all shields of valiant warriors. Your two breasts are like two fawns, twins of the gazelle, gazing up among the lilies until the dawn arrives, and the shadows flee. I will go up to the mountain of myrrh and to the hill of frankincense. You are altogether beautiful, my darling. There is no blemish in you. Come with me from Lebanon, my bride. Come with me from Lebanon. Descend from the crest of Amana, from the top of Senir, the summit of Hermon, from the lion's dens, and the mountain haunts of the leopards. You've stolen my heart, my sister, my bride. You've stolen my heart with one glance of your eyes, with one jewel of your necklace. How delightful is your love, my sister, my bride. How much better is your love than wine. The fragrance of your perfume is better than any spice. Your lips drip sweetness like the honeycomb, my bride. Honey and milk are under my tongue, or under your tongue. The fragrance of your garments is like the fragrance of Lebanon. You are a locked garden, my sister, my bride. You are an enclosed spring, a sealed-up fountain. Your shoots are a royal garden full of pomegranates, with choice fruits, henna, with nard and saffron. Sorry, I have the hiccups. Calamus and cinnamon, with every kind of spice, myrrh and aloes, with all the finest spices. You are a garden spring, a well of fresh water flowing down from Lebanon. Sorry, I'm just going to have some water to try to get rid of these hiccups. All right, hopefully it's gone now. Awake, O north wind, come. O south wind, blow on my garden so that its fragrant spices may send out their sweet smell. May my beloved come into his garden and eat its delightful fruit. All right. All right. Appreciation of the other's beauty and marriage night. All right. On to Song of Songs 5. The lover to his beloved. I have entered my garden, O my sister, my bride. I have gathered my myrrh with my balsam spice. I have eaten my honeycomb and my honey. I have drunk my wine and my milk. Eat, friends, and drink. Drink freely, O lovers. I was asleep, but my mind was dreaming. Listen, my lover is knocking at the door. Open for me, my sister, my darling, my dove, my flawless one. My head is drenched with dew, my hair with the dampness of the night. I have already taken off my robe. Must I put it on again? I have already washed my feet. Must I soil them again? My lover thrust his hand through the hole, and my feelings were stirred for him. I arose to open for my beloved. My hands dripped with myrrh. My fingers flowed with myrrh. On the handles of the lock, I opened for my beloved. But my lover had already turned and gone away. I fell into despair when he departed. I looked for him, but did not find him. I called him, but he did not answer me. The watchmen found me, and they made their rounds in the city. They beat me, they bruised me, they took away my cloak, those watchmen on the walls. I admonish you, O maidens of Jerusalem, if you find my beloved, what will you tell him? Tell him that I am lovesick. Why is your beloved better than others, O most beautiful of women? Why is your beloved better than others, that you would admonish us in this matter? My beloved is dazzling and ruddy. He stands out in comparison to all other men. His head is like the purest gold. His hair is curly like a black like a raven. His eyes are like doves by streams of water, washed in milk mountain like jewels. His cheeks are like garden beds full of balsam trees, yielding perfume. His lips are like lilies dripping with drops of myrrh. His arms are like rods of gold set with chrysolite. His abdomen is like polished ivory inlaid with sapphires. His legs are like pillars of marble set on bases of pure gold. His appearance is like Lebanon, choice as its cedars. His mouth is very sweet. He is totally desirable. This is my beloved. This is my companion, O maidens of Jerusalem. All right. The beloved enjoy each other. The man leaves at some point, and the woman searches for him and is lovesick. Description of the man. All right. Chapter 6. All right, here we go. Where has your beloved gone, O most beautiful among women? Where has your beloved turned? Tell us that we may seek him with you. My beloved has gone down to his garden, to the flower beds of balsam spices, to graze in the gardens and to gather lilies. I am my lover's, and my lover is mine. He grazes among the lilies. My darling, you are as beautiful as Tirzah, as lovely as Jerusalem, as awe-inspiring as bannered armies. Turn your eyes away from me. They overwhelm me. Your hair is like a flock of goats descending from Mount Gilead. Your teeth are like a flock of sheep coming up from the washing. Each has its twin. Not one of them is missing. Like a slice of pomegranate is your forehead behind your veil. There may be 60 queens and 80 concubines and young women without number, but she is unique. My dove, my perfect one. She is the special daughter of her mother. She is the favorite of the one who bore her. The maidens saw her and complimented her. The queens and concubines praised her. Who is this who appears like the dawn, beautiful as the moon, bright as the sun, awe-inspiring as the stars in procession? I went down to the orchard of walnut trees to look for the blossoms of the valley, to see if the vines had budded, or if the pomegranates were in bloom. I was beside myself with joy. There, please give me your myrrh, O daughter of my princely people. Turn, turn, O perfect one, turn, turn, that I may stare at you. Why do you gaze upon the perfect one, like the dance of the Mahanaim? All right. All right. The woman continues to search for her beloved and finds him. Repeated description of the woman's beauty by the man. All right. Chapter 7. Let's see. Francesca, nice, very graphic. Yeah. Awesome pickup lines for singles. Yep. Absolutely some great pickup lines. That would be so funny. I would okay, sorry. I want to go back for a second. I would love to see someone go up to someone else and say that your teeth are like a flock of sheep coming up from the washing. Each has its twin, and not one of them is missing. Or Or like, hey, your your forehead is like a slice of pomegranate. Like, oh man. Anyways, that would just be so funny. I would love to see that. Let's keep reading though. That was really funny, Francesca. Uh, How beautiful are your sandaled feet, O nobleman's daughter. The curves of your thighs are like jewels, the work of the hands of a master craftsman. Your navel is a round mixing bowl. They had never lack mixed wine. Your belly is a mound of wheat, encircled by lilies. Your two breasts are like two fawns, twins of a gazelle. Your neck is like a tower made of ivory. Your eyes are like the pools of Heshbon by the gate of Bath Rabim. Your nose is like the tower of Lebanon, overlooking Damascus. Your head crowns you like Mount Carmel. The locks of your hair are like a royal tapestries. The king is held captive in the tresses. How beautiful you are! How lovely! Oh, love, your delights. Oh, love, with your delights. Yeah, not the teeth ones though. Yeah, maybe not. And maybe not the one that I just read here. Yeah, your nose is like the Tower of Lebanon, or your neck is like a tower made of ivory. um, there's a few that should definitely be avoided here as pickup lines for sure. All right. Your stature is like a palm tree, and your breasts are like clusters of grapes. I want to climb the palm tree. Yeah, definitely not these ones though. This is if you use these as a pickup line, you are getting into sexual harassment there. So then let's not use these ones as pickup lines. Let's see. Uh, I want to climb the palm trees and take hold of its fruit stalks. May your breasts be like clusters of grapes, and may the fragrance of your teeth be like apples. Wait, sorry. May the fragrance of your breath be like apples. May your mouth be like the best wine, flowing smoothly for my beloved, gliding gently over our lips as we sleep together. I am my beloved's, and I am my beloved's, and he desires me. Come, my beloved, let us go to the countryside. Let us spend the night in the villages. Let us rise early to go to the vineyards, to see the vines, if the vines have budded, to see if their blossoms have opened, if the pomegranates are in bloom. There I will give you my love. The mandrakes send out their fragrance. Over our door is every delicacy, both new and old, which I have stored up for you, my lover. All right. There is more description of the woman, the beloveds have mutual desire and go to the countryside to be together. All right. Chapter 8. Song of Songs, chapter 8. Let's see. Oh, how I wish you were my little brother, nursing at my mother. What? Oh, how I wish you were my little brother, nursing at my mother's breasts. If I saw you outside, I could kiss you. Surely no one would despise me. I would lead you and bring you to my mother's house. The one who taught me, I would give you spiced wine to drink, the nectar of my pomegranates. His left hand is under my head, and his right hand embraces me. I admonish you, O maidens of Jerusalem, do not arouse or awaken love until it pleases. Who is coming up from the wilderness, leaning on her beloved? Under the apple tree I aroused you. There your mother conceived you. There she who bore you was in labor of childbirth. Set me like a cylinder seal over your heart, like a signet on your arm. For love is as strong as death. Passion is as unrelenting as Sheol. Its flames burst forth It is a blazing flame. Surging waters cannot quench love. Flood waters cannot overflow it. If someone were to offer all his possessions to buy love, the offer would be utterly despised. We have a little sister. As yet, she has no breasts. What shall we do for our sister? On the day when she is spoken for, if she is a wall, we will build on her a battlement of silver. But if she is a door, we will barricade her with boards of cedar. I was a wall, and my breasts were like fortress towers. Then I found favor in his eyes. Solomon had a vineyard at Baal Hamon. He leased out the vineyards to those who maintained it. Each was to bring 1,000 shekels of silver for its fruit. My vineyard, which belongs to me, is at my disposal alone. The 1,000 shekels belong to you, O Solomon, and 200 shekels belong to those who maintain it for its fruit. You who stay in the gardens, my companions are listening attentively for your voice. Let me be the one to hear it. Make haste, my beloved. Be like a gazelle or a young stag on the mountains of spices. All right. That concludes 2 books today. We concluded first Ecclesiastes, and now we just read through Song of Songs. Let's see. I would tend not to agree with Solomon. A woman is more beautiful when none of her teeth are missing. Oh man. Yeah. So this was this morning's reading. It was it was a fun one. It was an interesting one. Definitely some descriptions of very different things. We read through most of a very depressing book that's like, hey, you know what? Everything's meaningless, like doesn't matter anyways. And then this Song of Songs, which was about 2 beloved, in love with each other. And so this was definite change of pace from Ecclesiastes. But it was a good book. This was interesting to read. Actually, here I'm going to now quickly update the coloring in as I'm saying this. But let's see over here. Is this in frame? Yeah. Okay. Looks good. Looks like it's all in frame. I'm gonna. Yeah. There you go. Let's see if I tilt this down a little bit. Is that a bit more centered? Maybe not. Maybe more like that. There you go. Okay. All right, so today, it's also Proverbs that gotta fill in right here. Proverbs is done. Ecclesiastes is done. And now Song of Solomon is done. This has been some really cool reading. This, again, right here is the wisdom literature. Actually, let me bring it closer. The poetry literature. These 5 books right here that we have now just finished. So tomorrow, when we start the prophetic books, we are starting with Isaiah, and we will be starting a new color. I'm excited for it. I hope you are too. Let's pray. And before I do this comment here, we take for granted dentistry, but that trade was not always so sophisticated, which explains the comment on no missing teeth and how missing teeth was probably the norm. Yeah, that's true. It is definitely something. Dental hygiene has definitely improved a lot since then, which I'm very grateful for. I thoroughly enjoy brushing my teeth. It's one of my favorite daily daily hygiene things. I've just always really enjoyed brushing my teeth. So I'm very grateful for the advancements in dental hygiene since then. All right. Anyways, let's pray. And God, thank you. Thank you, God, that you care so much about us, Lord. You made us, you made life, and you did not just leave us to just figure out life and and ultimately end in death, end in a meaningless death after a meaningless life with no hope, nothing to live for, nothing to look for, nothing to look to. But Lord, you gave us your Son. You gave us life in you. You give us meaning. You give us purpose. You give us just this time, this life to live for you, this life to fear you. Keep your commands, Lord. We are called to fear you and live according to your will. So I pray, Lord, that your will would be done in our lives, not our will, but your will, God, that we would come to you surrendered with our lives, surrendered with what little we have to offer you, and that you would use it for your glory, for your kingdom, Lord. This is these lives that we have, our lives, they are yours. You gave us life. You saved our lives. You died for us. So the very least that we can do is offer our lives in return to you. And so, God, I thank you for that. I pray that you would help us. Help us, give us more fear of the Lord. Give us more of that. We want to have more awe, more reverence, more respect, more appreciation for you in all ways. Yeah, Lord, we need that. And I pray that we would be just excited to run to you, run before you, to just take such joy in you, such joy in your presence, Lord. I thank you, and I pray in your name, Yeshua. Amen. So I hope you'll have a great and amazing day for the rest of your day. And again, tomorrow, we're starting with Isaiah. We're going into that wisdom literature. It's going to be awesome. See you tomorrow. God bless you.